Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, 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 everyone all around the world. We are here at NGO Radio Terra's free lessons for all ages, all levels, all around the world. And I can't believe it's the second semester. I can't believe it's session 11. And here we are. I'm excited to be back in the lab again and hydrated. Don't forget to drink some water today. So I wanted to get into some of the conceptual sciences that make the improvisational stuff that we do as drummers and just the professional protocols that we follow happen and what we do. And I wanted to show how we can sort of employ some I don't know, it's a science. Apply some mathematics, if you will, to a groove scenario. Let's put it in a swing groove. And then let's talk about the tempo that we're at and how that corresponds to some things that you can always do, right? You can always do, and it will not only always work, but it'll enhance the music that's going on. And of course, nothing that I'm going to say here is written in stone. Music is it's all at once a subjective and an objective experience, but it's highly subjective because when you're the one making it, you want it to sound a certain way and you know it can sound a certain way. So, let's start with the first syncopation, and mind you, syncopation is the game. It's the only game in town when it comes to rhythmic interest, creating excitement, and ultimately, it's, I think, the thing that other professional drummers and musicians notice in novice drummers or other novice musicians, and that is that there's a lack of upbeats when those drummers or those musicians play, okay? So syncopation and upbeats and how to use them is the name of the game. So right? The and of 1 and the and of 3 in medium to up tempos always works. Drum Tourette's, I guess. So, something that is also really applicable and also really, really works is when you play medium to slow tempos, how the and of 2 and the and of 4 can really, really work. So, let's look at just the and of 3 for medium to slow tempos. The end of 3 always works for medium to slow. I said that the end of 2 and 4 also does, and that's a certain type of a feel. I do feel that the end of 2 and 4, it gives a certain funkiness because it happens after 2 and 4, right? So if it's, well, let me get to that in a second. But the end, just the end of 3 is really awesome and really important. I'm gonna slow it down even more. It anchors you down. Let me talk about some of the reasons why as I continue to demonstrate this. And these are just my theories, sort of adapted from Hal Galper's information, which I learned many, many years ago. And this is how it has internalized within me over the last, let me date myself, almost 20 years. So, the purpose of each beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, has individuality. Each beat has its own purpose. 1 is 1, right? Right? 1 is 1. 1 is home. 2, though, is where you set up the tempo. 2 is where you show your understanding of what the tempo is. Some people say that you should be able to get the tempo immediately after 2 beats, but really, really bad MFs can get the tempo after just 1 beat. But 2 is where it's established. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you hit 2, and then you locked in. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the end of 3 on this slow tempo. Right? Let me show you what the end of 1 sounds like at that tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now the end of 3. So the 1 and 3. So here's my theory on why the end of 3 at that tempo works better than the end of 1. And of course, you will always switch it up. It's never just set in stone. But the end of 3 works better at that tempo because 4 is an anchor beat, right? And I didn't get around to 4 yet, so this is a perfect time to talk about 4. 4 is an anchor beat. 4 happens right before 1, which is, of course, home, which is the big 1. And 4 is sort of like the quintessential backbeat. Like I said, 2 is where you set up the tempo, and 2 is a backbeat, but it's not the same backbeat that 4 is. 4 happens right before 1, so it sort of sets up the next bar. And 4 is, it hits, right? Of 3 hits right before that, so it's an anticipation. It is forward motion. Okay, like how Galper was very big on forward motion, and how you get forward motion is you play a hit, you play a note right before a super big beat, like beat 4. You can play on beat 4 at a slow to medium tempo. Let's hear how that sounds. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's not anticipation enough. 4 is still a downbeat, right? It keeps the tempo downtrodden. It keeps the tempo possibly slowing down even. So the and of 3 is the jam because you can ride on the and of 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so of course that's not musical to just only play the end of 3, and I'm being demonstrative and educational in this moment, but I would have played the end of 1 there too, right? So it's just the end of 3 anchors us because it's right before beat 4. It's a premonition, a rhythmic premonition to beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to emphasize beat 4 because beat 4 isn't 1, and always hitting 1, especially in a swing context, is a no-no. It's too heavy. So hitting 4 is a good anticipation to 1, but hitting the end of 3 is an actual upbeat. It's on an 8th note, or it's on a triplet, right? So 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet. When you speed it up though, the and of 3 isn't necessarily the vibe. So let's check this out. The end of 1 though. It's all dope. It's all good. Every beat is worth something, and every beat can be specifically your own individual expression or take on the given moment. I will say that the and of 1 though hits right before beat 2, which, like beat 4, is a setup for the next thing. It's 2 is where you set the tempo, right? 4 is where you set up 1. 3 is a downbeat, and it anchors. 1, of course, is 1, right? 1 is home. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, set the tempo, anchor. Set 1, 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 1. When you listen to, I don't know, Blues and Pants. Right, that 1 is really heavy. That beat is whatever, but 1 is. let's take it up really fast and listen to the and of 3 versus the and of 1. Because if I'm gonna pick any set up beat like 2 or 4 in an up-tempo scenario, I might pick 2 because it's at the front of the rhythmic cycle and it anticipates what could possibly come after that. And of course, again, I say all this with the idea that we are playing for a soloist who is following the same rhythmic science that I am following. This will not happen. This will not turn out well if everybody isn't on the same page about how this phenomenon called syncopation and call and answer and improvisation works, right? It only works with the understanding that I know that I'm showing you right now within others. And of course, everything is a blank slate, right? When I play syncopations and I tell you that it's all about syncopation, that is within the context that there's other people playing a bunch of syncopated stuff around you. This rhythmic science works within tempo as well. If somebody's rushing, it's really, really helpful to play more downbeats, right? Because downbeats anchor you. Downbeats create less tension. When somebody's rushing, you want to create less tension. There's tension in rushing to begin with, right? So yeah, you might play some syncopated notes with somebody who is rushing, but you're going to make sure that you pair those syncopated notes with a lot of downbeats where, if somebody was slowing down, you wouldn't do that. You'd want to play more upbeats because upbeats create the tension. Upbeats are more buoyant. Upbeats will create the up vibe when somebody's slowing down. When nobody's slowing down or speeding up and people are locked in the pocket, you can really, really have fun, and it's super easy to express yourself with syncopation. Syncopation is everything when it comes to rhythmic interest and being professional. All right, let's try and play let's try and emphasize 2 and 4 at a slow to medium tempo, and let's see what that does compared to say and of 1 and and of 3, right? 2 and 4 is clean, because you're kind of digging in. When you play 2 and 4, it gives you that soul jazz thing, and it's your lead way into funk and rock and roll and hip hop and everything else that is 2 and 4 based, which is our clave in America. That is our heritage, is 2 and 4. But when you add rhythmic interest, it'll have to take you away from always playing 2 and 4, which is a pattern-based idea, and into the idea of non-linear patterns, which is a non-repeating pattern. And the science of that is what I'm discussing here, the science of syncopation. So it's really cool to see how I when you go back and rewatch this lesson, hopefully, you'll see how when I'm playing 2 and 4, it's just 2 and 4, and you know the possibilities of that. It is locked in its pattern based. But in order to keep the rhythm section up and rhythmic interest up and keep the soloist up, you're gonna have to provide those upbeats. At that tempo, I played a lot of different things. I didn't just play the and a 3, which is my suggested anticipation. If you're gonna play any syncopation / anticipation at that tempo, the and a 3 is always gonna work. I just want to do it my way because that's what this music is all about. It's about I dare you. Jazz is I dare you, says Wayne Shorter. What that means to me is every moment that you are given to play is a moment for you to dare to say something bold and do something bold. And we can only do that when we have the right tools, such as these rhythmic concepts. Let's see if there's anything that I missed. Just have fun with it. And I'm going to take the last 5 minutes and we'll experiment with some syncopation.